Hello, my name is Valerie Parente, and I'm going to do a poetry reading. I have all my books right here. So 2 of them are poetry collections. One of them is a fiction novel. And I think I'm going to read from the artist The Muse, which is my first poetry collection. And I'm going to read some poems and then analyze them and tell you what I remember was the background. And we can just dissect it a little together. So I'm gonna pick random pieces. Let's go towards the end because I don't think I've read a lot of these. Oh, okay. This one's a little long. It's called Lady Luna and the Light Inside. And this is the artwork. It's a sketch. It's a sketch, it's hard to see here, but it's a sketch of a girl ripping out her heart and giving it to a, creature of some sort. All right, Lady Luna and the Light Inside, and this was written in 2017, August 2017. Lady Luna has so much light confined inside a heart as dark as night. She loves being near the sun, but it hurts to shine, because the light she feels inside grows bigger and bigger every night, but the heart of night remains the same size. Lady Luna does not want to waste the limited time, determined by a stubborn sun as beautiful as the very light she hides. She does not want to embarrass herself with another try, like a pessimist tries to embrace the bright side. Lady Luna tries so hard to meet the sun at night, longing to split apart and reveal the light inside, and show the waves the blinding spot provides. But she is too fragile and shy in her lunatic state of mind. Until she can find the right time, she writes, I have so much light for you crammed inside my heart, and it just keeps growing and becomes more painful to hold inside me and only me. I long to give this overflowing light to you, but you are so locked shut. I keep reaching out to share these rays with you, but you only open tiny fractions at a time, and I am getting so physically exhausted by the mental strain of this effort. Believe me, it is always worth giving another try, because you are worth more than anything this universe can comprehend. But all this energy exertion is taking its toll on me. My heart has so much light inside, and I do not think the light can fit much any longer without breaking my heart in half. Wow. That was not something I remember, right? I do remember writing it, but I did not remember the details in there. This is really deep. So Lady Luna and the Light Inside, I remember exactly when I wrote it. I actually wrote it sitting, I didn't write it, I drew the picture actually. I drew this picture while I was sitting on a basketball court at a local park, and my friends were playing basketball, and one of my friends was somebody who I had very strong feelings for. So this was about him, and I just drew this picture because I felt like I was hiding how I felt inside, and this was years ago, so I don't feel this way anymore, but I felt like I was hiding this beautiful light inside, because when I was 21, I think, and that was the first time I had ever really cared about another human being, because I was very absorbed in myself with my OCD and my eating disorder. I was very obsessed with my own being, that I didn't really have compassion for a lot of people for a while, and it did worry my family, but I did eventually gain that. And this was when I fell in love with this person. This was the first time I really felt for someone other than me, and really, really cared about someone else. And it felt like I was exploding because I was holding it inside, because I was, didn't want to ruin the friendship that was there. So let's go to specific lines. Lady Luna has so much light confined inside a heart as dark as night. She loves being near the sun. The sun is the object of her affection, but it hurts to shine. It hurts to love when you have to hold it in. The light she feels inside grows bigger and bigger every night, but the heart of night remains the same size. I really like that. People, when you care about someone and you continue to care more and more every time you have an interaction, it just gets stronger and stronger. But it feels like the space that love is in is not growing any bigger. It has to stay the same size because you're holding it in and you're not acting on it. It's still in the same size, but the love wants to burst out. That's super painful, and I think that's directly what this is talking about. Lady Luna does not want to waste the limited time. Determined by a stubborn sun, as beautiful as the very light she hides. Yeah, stubborn was definitely how that sun seemed. She's like a pessimist that tries to embrace the bright side. It's embarrassing because it says right before she does not want to embarrass herself with another try, like a pessimist tries to embrace the bright side. That's a super cool line too. What pessimist wants to ever be positive? It's so vulnerable to make that switch. So I like that it says embarrass herself with another try and then referring to that as a simile. Lady Luna tries so hard to meet the sun at night. Okay, so the sun doesn't stay out at night, so Lady Luna, which is, I think Luna is the moon. I think it's referring to Lady Luna as a moon. But Lady Luna tries to meet the sun at night. Doesn't work, obviously the sun isn't out at night. Longing to split apart and reveal the light inside. But she is too fragile and shy in her lunatic state of mind. Lunatic state of mind was a phrase that I very consciously remember writing, because they say like a full moon makes people lunatics, and I think the Latin root, I think lunar is about a moon, and then I think luna is the actual noun for moon in Latin. I did take Latin in high school and middle school for a very long time. I can't remember exactly, but I know the root luna comes from Latin, and it comes from referring to the moon. So when there's a full moon, a lot of people, there's like that myth that people go crazy on a full moon, which I know like a lot of people who actually work in the medical field who flat out say patients are crazier when there's a full moon. They know going in it's going to be a crazy night, the people who are on the night shift of a full moon. So I think that's a very real phenomena. I don't know why, but I think a full moon does affect people's moods. And I know that I was specifically calling her a lunatic state of mind because I feel like a lunatic sometimes with my obsessive compulsive disorder. So I'm referring to myself as a lunatic, drawing from the cliche of a full moon. That's something I like to refer to. And then that's all rhyming, and then it says until she finds the right time she writes, and then the writing is just a direct like diary entry basically. It doesn't rhyme, but some lines: I long to give this overflowing light to you, but you are so locked shut. I keep reaching out to share these rays with you, but you only open up tiny fractions of a time. That's what it's like when you know, I don't want to like talk too much about this person. This is a good friend now, but that's what it feels like when you do like someone who is more reserved. You only open up fractions at a time. It's hard to like get close, and I was terrified of getting close anyway, so it was a whole mess. Believe me, it is always worth giving another try because you are worth more than anything this universe can comprehend, but all this energy exertion is taking its toll on me. Yeah, it's exhausting. Having feelings for people is exhausting, and I'm pretty over it at this moment in my life. Pretty freaking over it. No longer actively trying to do this. I'm gonna try not to have feelings for people for a little while now, because it is nothing but a pain in the ass. But as this says, 3 years ago, it is exhausting, the energy that you exert when you feel for somebody and hold it in. It's exhausting. My heart has so much light inside, and that light is that feeling I told you earlier of caring about someone else, because for so long I didn't know how to feel empathetic towards other people because I was so dead inside with my anorexia. But that light is the feeling of caring about someone. My heart has so much light inside, and I do not think the light can fit much longer without breaking my heart in half. And I kind of knew that that's how it was going to end. I knew it wasn't going to, like, deep down, as much as I hoped things would transpire, I knew it was going to end in heartbreak. Because this was someone who was meant to be my friend, platonic. So everything worked out in the end, but that's what this is about. Like I said, I remember very vividly drawing this sketch with my notepad when I was sitting at the basketball court in 2017 in the summer. My friend brought her dog. The dog was touching it was a golden retriever. Like the hair was so, it felt like, because I'm a germ freak, it felt so like, I felt like I was getting covered in germs because this dog was like licking my face and wanting pets, and I was petting it to act normal, trying not to be an OCD girl. Yeah, so I just remember this very vividly, and it was a beautiful time in my life, but it was a painful time in my life, and I'm not planning on repeating that anytime soon. We're gonna take a break from that. That was a little personal, but it was so long ago, and I don't feel that way anymore at all. I haven't felt that way for years that I feel comfortable reading it. Did I ever read Order and Disorder? I don't think I did. Order and Disorder. From 2016. So this was 4 years ago in August. It was like exactly a year before the last one. Yeah, because they were both on the 26th. Okay, so August 26th of 2016. Order in Disorder. There is an order in this disorder, a recyclable cycle that can best be described as a pattern of the mind. A pattern of thinking perfectly warped thoughts, and a pattern of reaching to those thoughts by invoking protection against the twisted perfection. The disillusions, playing in rotations, are the thoughts with the connotations systematically assigned to strike different panic chimes. In this sick masterpiece, these thoughts became obsessions, egregious as transgressions, only to be diffused by a reactive set of rules. These reactions become compulsions, strategically malfunctioned. And yes, these rituals provide relief, but it is that very sense of success which legitimizes the illegitimate stress. Oh my God, that was a tongue twister. I don't remember these. That was so hard to read. Oh my God, I fumbled on it. I always fumble when I read. I'm bad at reading out loud. But that was really hard to read. Order and Disorder. What a tongue twister. I absolutely love this though. So this was back when my poetry was more lyrical and more rap-like. So let's go through some lines. It's no surprise, this is directly about obsessive compulsive disorder. So this is about OCD, and that something I realized, which is that this, yes, it's a mental disorder, but there is a very particular order to it. It is meticulous. There is a system behind the obsessions and the compulsions that I perform as responses to those obsessions. So I did notice a long time ago that there was a lot of order in this disorder. And I do write about that in Touch, because we uncover a lot of misconceptions in Touch, which is my fiction novel that's written somewhat autobiographically about a girl with obsessive compulsive disorder. And this really talks about a lot of the organization behind different obsessions and why Lacey, the main character, has to perform certain compulsions to diffuse the anxiety. There's a very particular reason behind every obsession and compulsion. So that's what this is about, and that's what this poem is about. A recyclable cycle that can best be described as a pattern of the mind. OCD is a cycle. I've talked about this before. It is intrusive thought, which is obsession, goes down, and you have to perform the compulsion. And then that compulsion causes anxiety to go away. And then once the anxiety's gone, a new obsession arises, and it just keeps going. So it is a recyclable cycle. Recyclable because a lot of the things that I do, like walking in certain rooms on my right foot because it's good luck. I learned that in Latin class when I was in like 6th grade, that there's superstition about the left. So when you enter a room, you should enter on the right foot. So little things, little obsessions and quirks and rituals that I would do were recyclable because I did them all the time, and I still do them every day. It's not like one ritual that gets done and it's gone. I still perform the same rituals to this day, some of them that I've been performing since I was a teenager. So it is recyclable. And like I said, it is that cycle. A pattern of thinking perfectly warped thoughts, and a pattern of reacting to those thoughts by invoking protection against the twisted perfection. There is a perfectionistic quality to being obsessive compulsive. I don't know if that's, hello, don't blur. I don't know if that's something that every person feels with obsessive compulsive disorder, but and it might just be something that I feel because I'm also I also have an eating disorder, so I'm a perfectionist about my body and the image that comes across and how I present myself. So I don't know if that's a mix of disorders, but for me, at least from my experience, there is a lot of perfectionism in OCD, and I have to protect myself from certain intrusive thoughts by doing something perfectly to the T. Like a common OCD thing is people who have to like switch lights a certain amount of times, or they have to just move their body in the perfect way to finally make you feel calm and not have to redo that action. So for me, there is so much perfectionism in little rituals. I don't do as many now that I'm older. I was much worse when I was younger, but the light switch is an example. You have to turn them on and off a perfect amount of times, very specific. Like I said, the walking in on the right foot is like perfectionist, like something that I have to do exactly the right way. Don't, step on the crack at all. Don't think about something negative when you cross that threshold, because then you're going to bring on negative energy. Like really crazy out there stuff that OCD just makes a field day out of your mind with. So what else? The disillusions playing in rotations are the thoughts with the connotations systematically assigned to strike different panic chimes. Disillusions, yeah. When you are obsessive compulsive, there's a lot of delusions. You can also call it a disillusion. Things that you think are reality that aren't reality. Things that you think you have to do to ward off this really crazy thing, or you get an intrusive thought, like something that you obviously don't want to happen, but you think the negative thing, like like for me, this is very common, but like driving and seeing someone on the side of the road and knowing that you drove by someone who was already in trouble, in an accident, already going through something, but you tell yourself, I caused that. Even though it makes no sense. You didn't touch them. They were already on the side of the road, but there's this feeling of, I caused that. I have to turn around and make sure they're okay, or else I'm going to think about this the rest of my drive, and then the rest of my stay wherever I'm going, and then the rest of the night, and it's never going to go away, and there's this huge panic, different panic chimes that get striked, however you say that in past tense. So there's delusions, disillusions that a lot of OCD people have, that they know, they see it with their own eyes. I didn't cause that accident, but I have to do something that my disordered brain is telling me to do in order to diffuse this anxiety, or otherwise I'm not going to stop thinking I caused that accident. That's just an example of that. In this sick masterpiece, these thoughts became obsessions, egregious, very egregious, like what I just told you, just so out there and so factually wrong. Like, it's obvious you didn't cause that accident. So egregious as transgressions, only to be diffused by a reactive set of rules. Yep. The compulsions that you are inclined to perform to ward off the anxiety is like a set of rules, and I talk about that in here in Touch as well. Lacey calls them, instead of rules, she calls them laws. They're just like there's laws of physics, there's laws of this order and disorder. And they're weird, but there's a reason. Sorry, this keeps getting blurry. I don't really know how to make that go away. I don't want to keep touching the screen. These reactions became compulsions, strategically malfunctioned. Like, yeah, set of rules, strategic. There's always order in this disorder, hence the title. And then the last line, and yes, these rituals provide relief, but it is that very sense of success which legitimizes illegitimate stress. That's the punchline. That's really what this comes down to. What OCD is, where yes, OCD does give you an action you can do to make this horrible anxiety go away, but these actions are not necessary. They feel necessary. They're not in reality necessary for you to not feel anxious. And just by performing these actions that you're being told to do, and getting that sense of relief in response, sorry for the blurriness, and getting that relief, that very act of, I made the anxiety go away by doing this set of rules, that very act is legitimizing your delusions, because you're getting a very concrete sense of, I'm okay now, from something that really isn't, when it comes down to the thing that's making you feel okay. This is some weird biochemical condition. So I really like that these rituals provide relief. That's a fact, but it is that very sense of success, that sense of I overcame this fear through doing a compulsion, which legitimizes illegitimate stress. Such a good line. I love that. By the way, this is the photo that I made that goes with it. I know I've talked before about how I like the motif of branches. I would often paint a skeletal tree on my hand. That's what that is in that photo during this era of my writing and art. All right, I read 2. We're at 20 minutes. We're going to read one more that's short. I'm going to try not to be a perfectionist because I'm really not liking how I look right now, but I'm going to try to post this anyways. And I know that's ridiculous, but it's like really freaking bothering me. I'm going to do a short one. A lot of the ones in the beginning aren't necessarily short. Inquiries. This is the art. She's covered in vines. The picture is called Vine, but it's spelled V-Y-N-E because it's a anagram for envy. This was written when I was very jealous of someone. The picture was drawn when I was very jealous of someone. So the poem that goes with that picture, Inquiries. What do you want when you are the only one in charge? Who are you when nobody else tells you what you want? How long will it take you to let go of your flaws? Do you even think before you talk? Where are you in your thoughts? I'm not going to get really into this, but if I remember correctly, November 2017, I know the picture goes with that, the person that I wrote this about. What do you want when you are the only one in charge? This is just trying to understand somebody else's mind, being very intrigued by somebody else's mind and wanting to know really what it comes down to, what makes them tick, what's going on in there. This was a person I wrote this about who often did things that they felt would make other people happy and impress other people, and they would do things that were seen as successful to parent figures and authority figures like teachers and whatnot. So that's where this comes from. So I'm just saying, like, well, okay, you always work so hard for someone else. So these inquiries that I'm asking, what do you feel when someone else isn't in charge? What do you feel when you're the only one in charge, when you're not trying to impress parent figures or authority figures? Who are you when nobody else tells you what you're supposed to want? Career-wise, work-wise, school-wise. How long will it take you to let go of your flaws? Because I think a lot of that trying to please other people stems from feeling insecure and feeling flawed. And then, do you even think before you talk? Do you have your own thoughts, basically? Where are you in your thoughts is what it comes down to. So that's a super quick poem, Inquiries. And it's just asking the questions that I feel like I haven't been able to actually ask. And I think the reason why this picture goes with it, because this picture, Vine, I believe this is like how I felt at the time. Like I had to keep my mouth shut. See, she's all wrapped up and imprisoned by these vines. She can't really ask what she wants to ask, which is what that poem is. All the questions that I want to ask. All right, so that is 3 poems from the artist, the Muse. And let's see if I can get a thumbnail. I'm very picky. I don't like how I look. So those were 3 pieces from the artist, the Muse. Lady Luna and the Light Inside, Order and Disorder, and then Inquiries. So 3 poems. All about things that were way in the past of my life and I don't identify with anymore, for the record. Okay, so if you want to buy this, it's on Amazon. And if you want to watch any other poetry readings or analysis, check out my YouTube. Thanks, bye.